Hello everybody. This is Monty with Flowers by the Bunch. I hope you are having a wonderful day. Today I am going to make a wreath for Miss Hattie Bourne. She came by the flower shop and she came by to visit. She loves watching the videos, and so she placed an order for a pretty wreath to go on her front door. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to make a pretty wreath for her front door. Now, her colors at her home, she's not really a pink person. It's more reds, black and white, yellow. But she kind of wanted it springy. So I found these dahlias that have a lot of red in the center but come off with a little bit of a coral color. Just so pretty. So we're going to use some dahlias. I've got green hydrangeas that are so springy. You know, you can't go wrong with green hydrangeas, right? These are yellow billy balls. Look how fun those artificial billy balls are. And then I got some smaller dahlias too that have a lot of pretty red in them. And then some beautiful foliage and some blue. Look at these. It's a blueberry, but it's really deep blue, and it's just beautiful. I just thought we're going to use that in her wreath. So here we go. I've got some pretty ribbons too. I'll show you the ribbons in just a second. I am going to start out. I've got my glue pan over here heating up. I'm going to start out by pulling the larger flowers first. Now I'm going to save this foliage. You know, I always like to use every part of the flower, because why throw good foliage away when you don't have to, you know? So I'm going to take this foliage and I'm just cutting that off, and we're probably going to use it in this arrangement. Now, what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to do one side of the arrangement, and then I'm probably going to put just a touch of flowers on that side, okay? So I always start out now. I go ahead and glue immediately. When you are first starting out in design, you want to place all of your flowers where you want them and then come back and glue. Now today, just for time's sake, I'm going to go ahead and glue as I go, okay? So I'm just taking this stem, and this is my glue pan, so it's a pretty large glue pan. I'm dipping it in my glue, and I'm just sticking it right into my wreath. Okay, the wonderful thing about these dahlias is they have a really good a bendable stem, a stem that's easy to manipulate, which is fabulous. So I'm going to go ahead and take both of these dahlias, these large dahlias, and I am going to go ahead and put both of them in place. I'm dipping it in that glue and tucking it right into the wreath. Next, I'm going to come in with my hydrangeas. I do the same. I want to save all this foliage because I don't want to throw away good foliage. So I'm just going to take all these leaves off and just leave them right here. I'm going to use all these hydrangeas, so I'm going ahead and cutting them off the bush. I'm going to dip it and put it right in place. Now this is a pretty good size wreath, so it's going to take a few more flowers, which is always okay. I'm going to use this one on this side. Once I get all my flowers in place on this side, then I'm going to work on this side. So I'm going to save that one. Next, I am going to come in with these. I love these because I love how they have a little bud, you know, and you get two different placements. So I love that. Go ahead and cut off my foliage, and I'm saving it. And I'm going to cut it. I'm going to cut that bud and use that bud also. So I am just taking that. I'm leaving that foliage on. Look how pretty that foliage is. I love the fact that they're easy to manipulate. That's wonderful. It makes arranging so much easier when the stems are pretty easy to manipulate. So here's our other dahlia. I love this color. It's just a really pretty, it's got lots of red in it, but it's got lots of coral too. So it pulls a springy look, I think. Cut that bud. Fluff my foliage. When I was in school, I remember Dr. Dale Prince out at Mississippi State University was my professor. And he would say when working with silks, when working with artificial flowers, he would say breathe life into it. So manipulate it and make it look like it's real. Okay, so you can see how I have my flowers tucked in. Next, I'm going to come in with some foliage. Gosh, my fingers get so much glue on them, drives me crazy. So I'm going to take, this is just a really pretty fern. A lot of these flowers and such I found over at Hobby Lobby at the craft store. And they are so pretty. I just loved all these colors. So this is just a pretty fern. I'm going to take it, pop some glue, and glue it right over into this wreath. And just kind of twist and turn that foliage to make it look like you want it to. I just took a few of the fronds off the bottom. Make it a little smaller, a little easier to work with. And I'm just tucking it, gluing it right down into that wreath. Now, like I said, if you want to, because you're afraid you might not get the placement exactly where you want it, you can always place your flowers and see, yeah, no, I'm going to pull this one out and glue it again. It didn't seem to stay in place where I wanted it to. But you can always place your flowers and then glue them. And I've done that before. It's just right now I'm on a time frame, so that's the reason I'm just gluing it directly into the wreath. When I teach, I like to teach it where you place your flowers in and then come back and glue, just so that you're happy with your placement. But if you've done this several times and you know you're going to be happy with your placement, just go ahead and glue that stuff. All right, so there's my fern. So it's pretty. Next, I'm going to come in with a little bit of eucalyptus. So this was just a pretty little bush of eucalyptus, and it's got 5 little places that I can cut. So I go ahead and cut it completely apart, take it completely off the little stem that holds it together. I'm going to dip and stick it where I want it. I always like for a wreath to have a little bit of depth, meaning having some stems sticking out and some stems tighter. Just play with it until you get it to where you like it. It just takes practice, really. Just with anything, it just takes a little practice. When making your wreath, always take the tags off. Okay, so there is my eucalyptus. Isn't that pretty colors? It does look so springy, but I think it's going to pull enough red that it's going to work for her home. Okay, next I'm going to start on this side and do just a little touch of flowers on this side, just because I don't like that it's just a lot of wreath. So I'm going to take and I am going to add just a touch of flowers right over here. Now, you can arrange your wreath any way that makes you happy. So don't feel like because I tucked flowers on the right hand side that you have, or on the other side, that you have to. It's not necessary. Everything you do in floral design, you do because it looks good to you, okay? When it goes into your home, you just be happy with what you made. And for me, I personally just don't like that it's just so much wreath showing. So that's the reason I like to tuck a little bit of a touch of flowers on the opposite side. Just because to me, I think that's pretty. But you do pretty for you, okay? Okay, and then I found this, and I don't know, it kind of looks a little bit like it's a seeds from seeded eucalyptus, but it's just kind of a pretty grasses. So I thought that would be pretty and give us some different texture in this arrangement. So I'm going to take it and cut it up. And I'm going to glue it, pop it with some glue, and just tuck it right in. And it has wire in it, so it kind of bends and turns, and it does what you tell it to, which is always nice when things mind you. And so I'm just taking this and going throughout this wreath. I just love the different textures of the foliage. It gives us a little bit of whimsy, a little movement in this wreath, which is always nice. Okay, so we've got that. Okay, I have got, next I'm going to put just a little bit of the fern on this side, so I'm going to cut a few more pieces. Lay that on the floor. Kind of fluff it up, breathe a little life into it. Trim it back if you need to. Be sure though with each placement to dip it in the glue, because that's going to be what holds it in place. It's going to make it stay together. Okay, now before I put my final little touches of the billy balls and the berries, I am going to come with ribbon. And I still have all this foliage here that I've saved for just in case. So I've got it here, and I will come back and use it for my final touches also. So next what I'm going to do is, of course, now I said of course, and this is not necessary either, but I like ribbon, and to me the ribbon is really what's going to make this arrangement. And so I found some things that I thought would make it kind of springy and kind of fun. I am going to so I've got lemons, because lemons seem springy. Polka dots, because of course polka dots are springy. And then she loved black and white. And so I've got some black and white gingham. Okay, so because I've got the lemon, I thought we might add some lemons to this wreath. Because I have the lemon ribbon. So I'm going to play with it and just kind of see what I like. And so I'm going to start out with making us a pretty bow. I'm going to start with the polka dots just because it's kind of a neutral. So I'm going to make a loopy bow, I'm going to do a center loop. Now, I don't always do center loops on bows, but I'm going to do it with this one because I want it to cover the wire that's going to attach the bow to the wreath. So I am just going to make a loopy bow, and I'm going to leave some long tails. I have got some tutorials on how to make bows on both my Facebook page and on the blog. So if you want to see how to tie bows, you can go to our blog at www.flowersbythebunch.com. flowers-by-the-bunch.com. That's our blog. Or you can go to our Facebook page at Flowers by the Bunch on Facebook. And we have got videos on how to make bows. And so check us out there. But I'm going to make this loopy bow. And I'm going to leave us some long tails. You can always trim up your tails. But I'd rather leave them too long. And so next I'm going to come in with, I think I'll do the black and white. Now, if you do not like the ribbons that you put on there, you can always take this apart and retie it. So don't feel like if you don't love your choices, you can always change it. And that's what I tell all my customers. When she walks in, I'm going to say, okay, tell me what you think, because I can always adjust it. You know, I want you happy. And so that's very important to me, is that the customer is happy with what we've done, and it can always be adjusted. So that's the wonderful things with artificials, is that you can fix it. No worries. We want everybody happy, and that's always been so important to me. I want the customer to be happy. Okay, so I've got some loops. I've got the black and white. I've got the polka dots, and now I'm going to come in with a little bit of this lemon. And I just thought this yellowy lemon, this lemon would really pop in this wreath. Now, I realize my wreath so far doesn't have yellow in it, but it's going to. No worries. So I'm going to take us some of this lemon ribbon. I love the lemons, and I think the lemons would pull not only spring, but it also pulls a little into the summer. So that's always wonderful that you can use it throughout the seasons. All right, so I have our lemons. Okay, so there's my bow. And I'm going to take some wire. I'm running it up underneath that center loop, and I'm holding it with my thumb right here. I'm going to bend the two wires down, and I've got the wire sticking out between my pointer finger and my middle finger. And I'm going to pull it tight, and I'm going to twist. Okay, to fluff the bow, I'm going to put my finger on that wire up underneath that center loop, and then I'm going to twist and turn and pull these loops and put them exactly where I want them. Now, if you'll hold it tight with that thumb, you're not going to pull your ribbon. You won't pull it apart, because you can pull too hard and pull the ribbon, the bows loose, or the loops loose. Okay, so there's my bow. Now I'm going to take this bow and I'm going to nestle it right down into this wreath. And I'm taking it and twisting it on the back of the wreath. And you want to twist it tight. You want it to stay in place. And then I'm going to work it, because I really need all these pretty flowers that I placed in here to show. So I'm kind of working my ribbon to nestle into this wreath. Okay, so there's that bow, okay? And I'm going to put another bow over here on this side. And then I'm going to add the yellow so that our yellow in the ribbon matches, okay? So I'm going to make, and this bow is going to be very small. It's not going to be a very large bow over here. So I'm going to start with the same, but this one I'm not going to put that middle loop. It's just going to be 2 or 3 loops. So it's going to be fairly small. So I'm doing 3 loops with the polka dots. Three loops with the black and white gingham. And then, let's see what we're going to do with the lemon. I think probably 1 loop with the lemon. It's just a wide ribbon, and so I'm just doing 1 loop with the lemon ribbon. Okay, so there's that smaller bow. Take a piece of wire, lay it right up underneath that thumb, bend it back, and twist it really tightly. And this takes practice. Tying a bow takes practice. It's just like anything else. To get good at it, it just takes practice. I always say you need to practice with wired ribbon. Wired ribbon is so forgiving. Okay, so there's that bow. I'm going to nestle it between the dahlia and the hydrangea. Twist it tight. And then I'm going to make it work and show my flower, because my flower is important. Just nestle it right down in between those flowers. Okay. Okay, so there's our ribbon. So it's really pretty so far, right? Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to add some yellow, because it needs some yellow after I tucked that lemon in. I am going to take some of these little lemons that I showed you, and we're going to tuck a few of these in there because I like them and they make me happy. It's got a little glue. Okay, so I'm not going to do a lot of lemons, but I am going to do just a couple just because I like them, okay? I'm going to tuck one down here. And then I'm going to cut one apart. I'm going to cut it in half so I have 2 inserts. I'm going to tuck this one up here. Oh, and I just touched myself with some glue. Tuck this one here. Okay, and then I was going to come in with the billy balls. I did get forsythia just in case. The only thing about forsythia for me, and it's just me, I'm sure, forsythia only blooms in the spring. Like it's blooming right now, it only blooms in the spring. Now, I will tell you, I use forsythia at my house through summer usually, because I think it's beautiful and it makes me happy, and it's yellow, and you know me and yellow. Forsythia is very much a spring flower, so I'm always concerned about putting something that's too seasonal into an arrangement. And so I'm taking these billy balls, I cut them off their stem, and I am just tucking them in to this arrangement. I'm dipping it in glue and just tucking it right into this arrangement. Now I'm leaving it sticking out some so that it gives us some depth, and it makes it kind of gives it, you know, some dimension. So I hate to put like daffodils. You and I both know daffodils only bloom early spring. So I don't like to use daffodils in year-round flowers because I know it's a spring flower. I know that that's silly and that's just me, and it's just completely okay if you use it. It doesn't bother me at all. Like, I use it at my house. I'm just concerned about other people. And I know that's silly. It's just me, I'm sure. So I'm taking a few of these little billy balls, which I love. And I'm tucking some up here too. Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, and so the last thing I would do is I will come in and just add a little bit of this little foliage just to finish it up. But I love it. It's beautiful. Look at all that color. And I think that it's not so red that, hey, I'm red, but it has enough red in it that it still looks, it's still going to match her decor, but it screams spring too. Guys, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you, thank you. If you like these videos, you can always follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We're also, of course, we're on YouTube, and if you like these videos or videos like this, you can subscribe to our channel. Guys, have a wonderful afternoon, and you will see us all real soon. Thanks.